Hello and welcome to the Runners World podcast with me, Rick Pearson.
Me, Ben Hobson.
And me, Jane Maguire. The dream team, reunited.
It's been a while. I'm really thankful because me doing the solo ones was fine. But come on, everyone likes a team chat. So welcome back, everyone.
And you're speaking with a little known upcoming runner, Ben, this week, aren't you?
Yeah, I just thought I'd go back to the roots and try and discover some unknown talent with this latest one. So just some guy. No, this is I was very fortunate enough to sit down with Haile Gebrselassie when I was away in Kenya, and I had a chat with him about him being amazing. And that's basically the sort of lead on it. And then we talked about all sorts of stuff, the super shoes and like his times then and now, where he sits with that great debate of when, like, oh, if I'd had these, I would have been. And he says he definitely would have. But yeah, it's so there's a chat with him. But
that's interesting.
I'm sure it is hopefully, but I'm sure most people listening they're going to want to know what you guys have been doing. Rick's been on holiday.
Yeah, I have.
So,
I was in running Mecca,
Rick?
Jane. I was in the French Alps near Morzine, which is
oh my goodness.
which was great. So it was a lot of I was mainly playing the role of like hiking mule, carting my three-year-old up and down the mountain. So it would have been a great training camp had I not been following a kind of grapes-based hydration strategy.
It sounds like the sort of thing that people give it a few months, Rick. That is going to be advised as like a really solid approach to UTMB.
I think so. We've talked about it before, haven't we? Yeah. It's got a term in the US called rucking, when it's basically carrying a big backpack.
Careful.
And hiking, and it's very much in a kind of rucking.
Yeah.
That's with a CK.
Right.
And it's the physical benefits of said activity are numerous and very applicable to long distance running in the mountains, which, let's be honest, is a lot of walking involved anyway.
Oh well, I can't wait to see the next performance at some sort of alpine race, Rick. Just off the back of this.
Yeah, we did.
We'll be flying.
One of the highlights was they move cows further up to higher pasture, and it's about 10k, and you're kind of herding these cows up a hill. So that was a highlight. But it was great. I mean, beautiful place. Obviously, quite close to where the UTMB takes place, alongside lots of other great trail races. So it was great to be out there, even though I only got out for 2 or 3 runs. It was mainly hiking, but good fun.
That was going to be my next question. Did you pack running kit?
Oh, of course, yeah. I've only got running kit then.
That's true. He's in it now.
That's all I wear. He's wearing it now.
What about you, Jane? It's been a while.
It's been a while. The Joy Plan's back in action. Just
Didn't know it stopped.
Just doing what I want. It never stopped. The London Marathon kind of got in the way, to be honest, though, because it wasn't. I don't think marathon training can be joyful. That's going to be chapter 3 of my book. So I'm now back on just doing what I want, not signing up to any races, relaxing, enjoying running.
Trail running, yeah. Now you're a huge trail runner.
Huge trail runner now. Kind of running with the dog on the trails, because I'm not one of those people that can run with the dog on a lead on a pavement because someone's going to get hurt, probably me. So back on doing some kind of very easy, nice running.
Lovely.
And that's where I want to be for a while, I think.
Have either of you gone out in this, heat wave that we're having? How do you all feel about this?
I might go out today. I quite like it. I'm one of these weird people that enjoys this.
I like it.
Am I going to be deleted or cancelled for that? But
no, I think you're allowed to enjoy running in the heat. I think it's it's getting a sweat on and embracing the weather. Feels good.
Good excuse to go slow as well. I always tell myself, just a slow run today, obviously. It's just the heat, isn't it? But it's quite funny. I mean, it's warmer here than it was in France. So, which is, you don't often say that, do you? But it is. So nice to get back to. And I agree. I like a little bit of running in the heat. I hate racing in the heat. I hate when you have to
Well, no, that's
terrible. But
that's terrible.
Running around casually in the heat, it's fine, isn't it?
It was the South Downs Way 100, wasn't it?
I think it was. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that would have been hard.
Yeah.
But if anyone's looking for any hot tips on how to handle running in the heat, just head over to runnersworld.com/UK, because there's a guide. So there you go, some useful information for people off the bat. Shows you how to cope with the hot weather. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it's basically just be sensible. It's the main advice.
Have you ever jumped into a race like with like 3 days notice? Do you know that kind of thing where someone like, I guess in our industry, like you occasionally get asked like, can you go and do something?
Yeah, they've never been like it's always been for the experience. They've never been like one that you've absolutely smashed to pieces. Launching into a race with no notice means that you're able to do it, and you'll probably enjoy the sort of spontaneity of the event. Like you kind of like, oh, I wasn't doing this and now I am, and that's sort of exciting. But it's never going to be the one that you suddenly go, God, I just managed to get a 3-minute PB there for some reason. That's incredible, right? But yeah, there's been a few. They're quite good fun.
What about you, Jane? Have you had any where you've been like, oh right, suddenly I'm doing a marathon?
No, not a marathon. Definitely not a marathon. Actually, I guess I'm going to get called out, aren't I? Because I only decided to do London about 3 weeks before, didn't I? I was on the fence. But then I guess I was still doing some sort of training. I didn't go from like sitting around doing park runs every week to just do a marathon. Like I hate those people. But I guess I hadn't mentally decided I was going to run it until a few weeks out, and I think maybe that was for the best, because I think I'm such a prangy human that I only had 3 weeks to prang, and then that was it. It was done. It was over. And I think maybe that's why I felt a bit like funny after this one, because I think normally you have 4 months, don't you, of mentally training for a marathon, whereas I had 3 weeks because I was just training. I was doing bits, but I can't say I was
like focused on it.
Do you mean I wasn't like run 1 week 5 on Strava? Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, pottering along, and then mentally committed and thought about things like how I was going to get to start and what was I going to wear. I think I texted you about 2 days before, Ben, saying should I wear a hat? I think I just had no like mental capacity to think about it this time, and I think that's for me the way to do it. For other people, that would be horribly stressful to not decide on an outfit till the day before.
I remember the worst one for me was actually first week at Runners World. I think I don't know, maybe it was a week before I started. I got an email and it said, "Oh hi Rick, just wondered if you're in marathon shape and you could do the Chester Marathon next weekend." And I couldn't say no, could I? It was like, you haven't even started. I haven't even started at Runners World yet. And it's like, oh yeah, of course I can. Yeah, of course I can. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, you just be going around with the 4-hour group. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, sounds good. So yeah, I felt like that was sprung on me, but I was actually pretty fit at that point, so it was all right. But
I think I'm less fit now. I don't work at Runners World.
No, still clocking up the miles. You're just the joy plan's keeping you going. This is what's.
But I don't think I could do a marathon in 3 weeks. If Chester Marathon called, I wouldn't be ready.
But
we'll let them know.
Yeah, it does tie in a little bit with the trend of like, I did this with no training, which is like
oh mate, yeah,
people bang on around. You see a lot of that on TikTok and Instagram, where it's like, oh, I just dived in and did this off no training. We wrote a thing about it the other day. Actually, it's on the site if everyone wants to go and have a look. And we asked about the people who'd sort of claimed it, and it's quite clearly just a sort of clickbaity look at my post kind of thing. Because actually, the reality is that they all train 5 days a week for different sports, and they've got like a really strong aerobic capacity from, I don't know, cross training or however they do it. So yeah, there is a reality that they can go and just do a marathon off the back, and they've previously run halves and all this sort of stuff. So anyone who's listening, who's sort of seen someone claiming I did it with no training on the internet, just be wary that the reality is they probably train very hard, maybe not running specifically, but they're fit. And I think that's a very different thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it, where like completing a marathon, if you're like a relatively fit, uninjured person, like getting around it probably is within the capacity of more people than you might think, but it sort of misses a point, that for me. I remember like Vassos Alexander, I think it was on here, he said it, he's like, marathon day is like a celebration of the person that you've become through training. Like, and if you just bypass the whole training aspect and you just like throw in a Hail Mary at the marathon, do you get a huge satisfaction at the end of it? I guess it's sort of like hacking. It's a kind of a hack, isn't it? Like hacking the marathon. But
yeah, I think it's a massive achievement. Obviously, like that goes without saying. But yeah, I know what you mean. There's the sort of, I guess you get the sort of sense of, if it was genuinely like you approached it with zero training and you completed it, then you would just be like, wow, look at what I'm capable of. That's incredible. That I guess that's where the sort of that's what people are chasing. But the reality is that you probably wouldn't get any sense of enjoyment from it, because if you went in completely without training, it would be the unraveling of you. I reckon it would just, it'd be a death march to 8 hours of awfulness or something.
It's funny though, isn't it? The marathon still holds that thing in people's minds. Like, I think a lot of people who do some of the big marathons get in, maybe only run one marathon, and it has that sort of I got round, never again. Maybe never really get properly invested in the idea of what running could be a part of your life for longer than just this race, which is, I feel like it's maybe a bit of a shame, and hopefully. There are obviously people who start running a marathon and they carry on and it becomes part of their lives. But it still is that kind of event that it's kind of cool to say down the pub, isn't it? Ran a marathon, never running again. But it's kind of okay, yeah, fair enough. But there's another way of doing it as well.
The joy plan method. That's what we're waiting for, Rick. That is
the
what
joy
we're waiting
plan
for.
method. Yeah.
Well, I mean, talking to people who are good at marathons, our guest Haile Gebrselassie, he's quite good at it. So I mean, should we just press play on that and
get him on? Come on,
right,
get him on.
We'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Right. This is me talking to Haile Gebrselassie in Kenya back in March. Haile Gebrselassie, welcome to the Runners World podcast.
Thank you.
A real pleasure to talk to you. I got to go running with you earlier
this morning.
That was really nice. Thank you for that.
That was good.
We're in Kenya, but let's talk about Ethiopia because that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my first time to Aiton. This is your second time.
Yeah, second time, exactly.
Yeah.
So not second time whole Kenya. I've been in Kenya many times.
Many times. Ethiopia is obviously a country of great running heritage, produced world-class athletes. What is it about Ethiopia that you find was the sort of reason behind why people were able to find running as a pastime, a sport, be so good at it?
Well, the reason why I can say, because of Abebe Bikila won in 1960, and you see, we Ethiopians had the potential. Means the things for long distance running, we have everything. For example, the altitude training, the food, what you eat, the way of life, your background when you were in childhood, and the way how you grew up. All those together, it brings you a good long distance runner. And especially Ethiopia, after Abebe Bikila won in Rome in 1960, of course, the time when he won, nobody expect, because we thought as an Ethiopian, not me, but the people who lived, that time, they didn't expect Abebe Bikila won a race like that way, without shoes, and because what we believed is this is not Ethiopian sport, running is, but the things it was there, and after him, what happened? The rest of the Ethiopians, what they were talking about, okay, he won a race. I'm training with him. Even a guy who didn't take part in Rome 1960 was much better than Bikila, but didn't meet. He couldn't fly to Rome because of a small problem. The last part of his training, and Abebe Bikila would have been second if the guy were in Rome. And you see, after him, many of the Ethiopians, okay, let's do it. And as you see, like Mama Walde, Mirus Iftar, and many others until now, until this generation.
Well, I think, let's talk about you, because if we're talking about figureheads, people who have of importance in terms of pushing forward the sport in Ethiopia, yourself, huge impact, I'm sure. How's it changed? How have you seen running change from when you were racing and through now? How's distance running approached in Ethiopia? Is it very much the same process? Are people training in the same way, or have you seen a huge shift?
I think when I came to the track, I can say, because of my character, I used to ask many people around the world, what it looks like the track, how to train, what is the exercise for the track, and those things it helped me a lot. And then I could change, many things. And most of the training or most of the competition, what they have done right now, especially the training method, the training tactic, and the training program, almost very similar to my program when I used to when I was doing the track. And even nowadays, sometimes when I go to the track, when they do the same thing what I used to do, and I told them, hey guys, this is a different time, and why don't you put something what you need. And that is very important. Otherwise, you see, to break a record is not easy like before. Nowadays, record is not the easiest way, just to break. Of course, many technology there, and if you look, the technology, the shoes, this light thing in the stadium. You have a pacemaker from the beginning to the end, and my time, just if you have a pacemaker halfway, you're lucky.
Yeah.
And all those really. But those this new generation need a lot of work. To improve things better and better. Of course, and instead of the performance of the athlete, I can see the performance of the companies, the shoe companies. They're producing the best technology, best shoe, the best thingy, including the food what they eat, the science there. And I think the performance of the athlete compared to the time when I used to when I used to run track, I think it's a little better. I can say we were much hard worker than the generation what is nowadays.
Well, we were joking earlier about getting some of your old shoes and giving them to the current athletes, and telling them to run in them and see how they feel.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you want to see the performance of those athletes who have done a marathon these days, okay, and instead of to give shoes from the 2022 or 2023, okay, let them have shoes from 2007 and 8, and I want to see just how fast they're gonna run, and if they run faster than what I've done, really appreciate them.
How would you think if you took Berlin when you run 2:03:59? If you had the shoes that are available now, do you think that it would have been much faster, or do you think that it was just as of its time, and who knows?
Sub 2 hours possible.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah.
These days, the shoes what we have is incredible.
Yeah.
Really is incredible, because I have all types of shoes. Shoes from the last 30 years.
Yeah.
I had my first, for example, I did the shoes the shoes from Di Castella, from my brother, and I had a chance to wear that shoes. This is I'm talking about 1987, when the Di Castella ran 208. And I remember that shoes, and of course shoes from my world record. And nowadays, come on. Yeah, you see, I'm still training with them, and still I'm using treadmill and running with these shoes, and you jump, man.
You see, you do. They really move you.
When you are on treadmill, you like a kangaroo.
If we talk about Berlin and that record, it's not unfair to say that it was very much a watershed moment in terms of setting the standard that we're now in, where people are pushing for those final. The leaps prior to it were bigger in time. People were taking X number of seconds, but that moment when you went sub 4 was significant, and it became started this whole the thing now where everyone's really chasing those fine improvements towards the end. Do you think that is that a race that you look back on as a great significance for running, or just personally it was just like your proudest moment?
I mean, you see, when you run for time, you have to find a right place to run. Of course, again and again, Berlin is the most important race. Athlete who wants to run fast time. Look what they've done, including Kipchoge and others. Many of this world record comes from Berlin, and when you are in Berlin, not only the course, not only the spectator, not only the weather, everything. Everything when you are Germany, and plus you see the place where you run, the almost sea level and very flat, and wow, this is, and plus myself, when I go to a race like Berlin, I just wow, you feel okay, something. So, I'm gonna do something good, and you see, as an athlete, when you have something, just lucky day, lucky race, lucky place, lucky people, and people the one you like most, and for me, Germany is my favorite country, and I like the concept, the principle of even in soccer, I always support the German team, and why that? Because of the mentality in Germany. In Germany, they play until the last whistle. That's why when you go to Germany, you come just with with something.
With
And,
something, yeah, of course. We mentioned talking on the run earlier. You said that Sydney is kind of the race that you look back on as the biggest moment. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, the reason why Sydney was my favorite or my biggest moment, my best moment in my athletics career. First of all, I went to Sydney not for competing, just to support, the team, the Ethiopian athlete. I was injured. The injury was so very serious, and it didn't. Especially the semi-final. The heat. During the semi-final, one of my target was, not to show for the competitors. I'm injured, and the day when it comes to final, it was really, I can say, it was a lucky day, and for me, when I look back, Paul was not lucky.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been, that medal. That gold easily.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I win, the race until the last 3 meters.
Yeah.
Well, almost the last line.
Yeah.
The race was really a very tough one, and plus because of the injury what I had. Many reasons. The race from Sydney, of course, at the end of the day, it's Olympic.
Yeah, of course.
It's Olympics.
But it must be. We've all been sitting around saying how much we've all rewatched that race and the final 300 meters, and how there's just, as you say, luck comes in, and you had an excellent teammate who did a good job of just doing a little move just to make sure that he could, Paul couldn't get quite far. But as you say, everything lines up, and it's incredible to think, talking about your injury, which resulted in surgery, correct?
Yeah. Just right after the Sydney Olympics, I went there, Finland, to have the surgery. That's all. And as you said, it was a kind of team tactic between me and Asef Gebu. Nowadays, still always Paul. When you think about the Sydney, think about just he's losing. always blaming Mesgebo. Aside from Mesgebo, hey, Mesgebo. he never say, you. Mesgebo was the one. But the tactic was very slightly, and especially not the reaction,
Yeah.
the word. Yeah, the
You
word.
still had to run.
Yeah, the word what he said, and he said to me, like when he moved, and the Mesgebo told me, he's moving. What are you waiting? Kind of thing. Imagine, athlete after 24 laps to talk like this way. It's really amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah. How did you deal with the pain then when you were running? How did you find the mental toughness to push it away? Because is it the occasion? Is it because it's the Olympics? You have to do it.
But the decision always comes a beginning of your race. You put yourself, okay, I got today. I mean, even that day, with that kind of pain, I said to myself, I can win. I told to SFI just during our warm-up time when we were warm-upping, and don't worry, I go win. I'm gonna win. But they thought, just I'm joking. You see, a mental preparation or that decision comes, just always, at the beginning. If you put yourself a second position, possible, just to finish fourth, fifth. Put yourself, I'm gonna win, the race. This is the best way to prepare mentally. Means, to accept yourself, to respect. I can't do it. But the way how you decide, sometimes, okay, everybody wishes to win, but you have to tell yourself, okay, what's the big deal? Hey, me and him, just the same. What if I don't want to be, I want to be in front. I finish first.
I want that gold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is the way how you deal with the race, with the winning, and then you win.
Yeah, you just make it happen.
Yeah, and then even, for example, if I don't say like that way, imagine if you look, between me and Paul Tergat in the last 100 meters. Imagine if you give up.
Were you still thinking? At that point, is that when you're thinking the most? I'm winning. I'm gonna win this.
Yes, this is the things. You see, a kind of a fraction of a second. Just let me give everything what I have, the maximum effort.
Yeah.
That was the difference between me and Paul Tergat. Yeah. Of course, Paul gave everything what he had, what he could. Yeah. And maybe a chance. A chance means, for me, that day, why he didn't win, not because of his strengths, not because of his effort. He did everything, but he was not lucky. Yeah. That is the only thing he missed. I was lucky.
Yeah. You trained, obviously. You did all the prep, but when it comes to those final 100 meters.
Exactly.
Exactly that. How much further do you think, firstly, track racing can go? How much further do you think the times can improve? And then, again, with the marathon and distance, what we've seen so far, in competition, let's keep it within the actual sort of the races. How much faster, how much quicker do you think people are going to get? Do you think we could see sub 2 in a race?
Nowadays, it's not the performance of the athlete, as I said. You cannot say how fast the athlete can do. For me, not only the athlete, maybe the athlete can play 30-40% of the thingy, but technology is there. We have to be honest. We have to understand each other. I think, of course, at the end of the day, it's the athlete, the players, and of course, who take, the ownership, of course, the athlete. Yeah. But for me, what about, the shoe companies? What about, the technology, what they've done, right now?
What about tracks?
That's also other thing. What about the food? What about the things what they found out? Every technology that this light what do you call it, light wave of in the stadium, around the stadium, wavelength light.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a kind of pacemaker.
Yeah.
And already now what happened? The scientists, they found the gene of the people who need just when it's lactic acid.
the threshold. Of
Yeah.
of course.
That's you see, one of our problem, the lactic acid. If the lactic acid, going down, yes, you can do anything. After 5K, if the lactic acid is going down, it's going well.
Yeah.
You improve.
Yeah.
And
Were you when you were racing?
Yeah, exactly.
Were you lactate? You're taking
Exactly. And you see, now, okay, where we are about the time, 10,000, 5,000 marathon. What will be the next 10, 20 years? It will be much faster, more faster. You cannot. You see, the scientists, they improve a lot of things to find the right tissue, or to find the right product, and which one is the perfect one, who run even the track, the way how you make, and the wind thingy, and many things. And
Very complicated.
Exactly. If you ask me, the perfect and the human effort world record was Bebe Bikila, who won Rome in 1960. That was barefoot.
Yeah.
If you want to take just as a world record the human effort, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Exactly.
It's,
Because he ran naturally.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Do you think we should have several different Olympics now? We have ones where everyone's barefoot, ones where everyone's got technology, and then one where you can do whatever you want. Just have like all these different ones, and then see how far people can go.
Well, of course, who had every technology? Of course, at the end of that is, but you cannot live the performance of the athlete. Of course, that's also very important. I said 40%. You cannot come with the 0% or with 10%. If you have fully 40% and 60% technology and 60% other thing, you can achieve what you want.
Are you looking forward to Paris 24?
Yeah.
Who's your hot tip? Who do you think's going to win 10,000 meters?
Now Paris is less than 2 years from now. Athlete from Kenya, Uganda, now Ethiopia as well. But I don't see so many Ethiopians strong enough like before, because when you look at Nokananisa and myself and others, you can put your money on Ethiopia. But now it looks like Uganda. This athlete from what his name, the Ugandan who won the world cross country.
Oh yeah, I forget.
Rotich or thingy like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's really strong, very strong athlete, and maybe some Ethiopians, but the Kenyans are stronger now. But you never know, somebody from
a European.
Man. Yeah, maybe. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I think you cannot say this athlete was strong for Paris. This athlete, you cannot. If you know somebody win, the race ahead of 18 months, why the others are doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Haile, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of this week's Runners World podcast. A huge thanks to our special guest, Haile Gebrselassie, and to you, of course, for listening.
You can subscribe to 3 issues of Runners World for just £5. Head to runnersworld.co.uk/podcast offer. Let's just go with that. Yeah, or just Google it. Just Google subscribe Runners World magazine. It's easier. Just Google it. That's fine.
And please do subscribe, because it means a lot to us. And yeah, you won't have to search for the podcast every week, Ben. Or Google us if you're following Ben's, for example.
Have you ever wondered if people actively listen all the way to the end of this?
I don't think anyone does. I think people cut off when they hear the guest finish.
So at the end of the last one, I basically just said, like, please don't leave a bad review on Spotify because it's just me. Rick and Jane will be back soon, or whatever it was. I think so. And someone's tagged me in a post. Sarah tagged me in a post saying, "Don't worry, Ben, it's okay. The solo podcast was fine." And I was just like, "All right, someone listened to the end. There you go."
If you're still here, you're the most dedicated. So we appreciate you more than the people that have gone.
This is now by far the longest outro we've ever done. So there we go.
Just stop.
All right, just stop. There's another podcast next week. Okay,
bye.
thanks a lot. Bye.